everybody, I'm Quinn.
And I'm Scott. Welcome to the Almost Friday show for Thursday, August 19th, 2010.
This week in Off the Press, we're giving you a group review of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World.
Because we've seen it at least twice now.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Then there's no comics this week, and we're going right to Tech Insight, where we're talking about Facebook Places. Now you can share exactly where you are with your millions of Facebook friends. And all those people who really aren't your friends can just check it out.
Just when you thought Facebook couldn't get creepier.
It did.
In Behind the Lens this week, we're looking at a bunch of new cameras that both Canon, Nikon, and Fuji have come out with. Whole bunch of stuff going on.
Lots of information there. And then we're going straight to the lull of the week. And speaking of Facebook, we're going to give you a little insight into why you should lock your Facebook profile before applying to jobs.
But without further ado, it's time for Off the Press. Hey everybody, welcome to Off the Press. Kicking it off, a little bit more Torchwood.
Just a little bit more Torchwood. So some details were announced earlier this week, mostly just about what happened to Gwen and Jack in between Children of Earth and this new series, and a little bit of character background on one of the new characters, a CIA agent named Rex. He's an American, he gets caught up in some crazy shit, and he tries to find Torchwood, but the US government and the British government are coming after him, and then he has to call Gwen and Jack for help.
So, sort of the first official American character then?
Mm-hmm. There is going to be an American female character who's going to be joining them, but there hasn't been any information about her yet.
Okay.
And no information on the actors as of right now.
So all we know is CIA agent Rex.
Tidbit of an update.
And he's getting caught up in stuff. Sounds pretty
Sweet.
Torchwoody.
Yeah.
Stepping in the wrong kind of puddles.
And speaking of weird stuff, stepping in the wrong type of puddles, I guess the underground hit Pinocchio Vampire Slayer, the comic book, is set for a sequel. It's coming out in October of this year. Going to be $15. It's called Pinocchio Vampire Slayer and the Great Puppet Theater. Not much more information is available except that he finds a bunch of puppets and they team up and fight demons and vampires and stuff.
I feel like there's a lot of movies and books that are something the Vampire Slayer. It's a common theme. It's like, you know,
Buffy?
this wooden chair and the Vampire Slayer.
Well, a wooden chair would be a great vampire slayer. It sharpens one of its legs and, you know.
I suppose. All right.
Just saying.
This blunt fridge, the Vampire Slayer.
Fridges have shelves. Sharpen one of the shelves.
How is the fridge going to sharpen its own shelves, all right? It's
How
got
is it
no
gonna-
appendages.
How is it going to slay vampires? I don't know.
It can only travel like 3 feet from its, point of origin
Is that
to
how long
fight.
the cord is?
Yeah, and then it just runs out of power.
Wow.
Yeah.
You put way too much thought into this.
Hey, when you guys find the mad cult hit of Blunt Fridge the Vampire Slayer, you'd be thanking me, all right, for coming up with that brilliant idea. Just saying. Saying.
Okay. And one last thing before we get up to the big review this week. Star Wars on Blu-ray?
Yay!
Maybe.
What?
Maybe. So Star Wars on Blu-ray is going to be released for the 35th anniversary of the first fourth Star Wars movie. It's going to have some deleted scenes. But it's only going to be the special editions that'll be released, not the originals.
Yes.
Because George Lucas said it would cost too much money to...
Yeah, because they went
remaster
back
them.
and they spent the time sort of digitally remastering those,
In
and
the
they
90s,
can
yeah.
basically take those and go from there, and it's a little bit less of a jump as opposed to going all the way back.
Yeah.
And so, that pisses off a lot of people who Greedo shot first,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. But I think it's safe to say that George Lucas is never going to go back to those original
Oh, God,
cuts, no
no.
matter what, because he honestly believes that his new cuts were better. And, I think, money thing aside, that it's him taking a stance that I was happier with these revised editions anyways.
Yeah.
I'm interested in it only because, I have the originals on VHS, and I'll never get rid of those because, well, they're the originals. But I'd love to have the whole set on Blu-ray just to have everything in good quality. I've been waiting a little while. We all thought it was going to happen 5 years
DVD.
ago for the 30th anniversary. So I'm surprised it took so long, but I guess it's about time we finally have a box set of all of the movies.
All 6 of them.
Because even prior to Blu-ray, there is no box set of all 6 movies.
No.
You can only buy them individually or as a first pack or second pack. So it's kind of cool to see them all come out as one thing. Mm-hmm. And apparently it's going to be jam-packed with extra bonus features and stuff, which is what I really expect out of that. I mean, if you're going to sell all 6 movies with Blu-ray, you better feature pack them for sure.
Yeah. There's no word on pricing yet, but it is going to be released next fall, so fall 2011, most likely in time for Christmas. So that's going to be pretty exciting.
Speaking of feature packed, it's time to move on to our group review of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and as usual, we'll bring him in on the snap. And that kind of cut is what you'll see a lot of in Scott Pilgrim, because there's some crazy camera work going on in that movie.
Awesome.
And I mean that in the best way possible.
Yes. The best.
So these two read the comics, and once again, Scott and I have not.
Surprise
You
there.
guys are slacking. Come on.
Hey, I think I end up enjoying these movies more because I don't read the comics.
Slacking or representing our viewers.
Yeah, someone has to be
Fair
impartial.
enough.
Maybe Quinn just can't read.
Hey, I told you not to bring that up. For anyone who's wondering, this is Becky. She's our guest correspondent who occasionally appears in things. But you haven't yet seen her on film. You might recognize her voice if you used to follow some DOS Time
She was in
Live.
Polaris.
I was.
No, she wasn't.
Oh,
I
no, she
wasn't.
wasn't. It was cut.
I was.
I'm sorry.
I was dancing briefly.
There was some
like-
there was some
it was like 2
dancing and
seconds.
some hugging of rapping Shaq Sharkness.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, we should get back on track here and talk about Scott Pilgrim. So you guys, being the comic fans,
Yep.
how did it meet your needs as comic lovers?
It was satisfying.
It was the only movie to successfully overpower my nerd rage with awesome.
Yeah. I think what they took out wasn't super important, and changing the ending makes sense because the script was written around the same time as the 6th book, so...
I think if they tried to leave everything in, they would have had to make like
oh, God.
6 movies.
Yeah, they would
Yes.
have to make like a
There's
trilogy
definitely-
at least.
Yeah.
Enough material.
And then it would have been awful. It
Which
would've
I
been
don't
boring.
think would have been anywhere near successful.
No. It would
As
drag.
much as it's an awesome movie, and I'd see a second one, I don't think there'd be a purpose to a second one.
No.
It'd be drawing it out too much. It was nicely packaged as a full movie. I mean, obviously it moved quickly through the 7 evil X's, and 2 of them got paired together. But it didn't feel rushed, regardless of that fact.
It's true. And I mean, the twins do fight together kind of in the book. So even where they mashed things together, it wasn't that bad. You didn't hurt on the inside when it happened.
No. And it's not like they cut out any major plot details like a Tom Bombadil character or something. Just saying. They just took the main plot and made it into the movie instead of putting all the little side plots and all the, by the way, Scott dated this chick, but she only shows up this many times and she's not very important. So.
Scott Pilgrim almost dated this chick, and she kind of came back for a while and
Yeah.
then left again. And I guess we all grew for it, but did she really need to be there?
So, having not read the comic, did you find it was a difficult plot to follow?
No. One of my friends did. And I don't get that. I didn't find it was that challenging. There were a few throwbacks to the comic people that I didn't understand, but they were like one-liners.
Yeah.
Reference to the inter-subspace highway thing.
Subspace.
But that was such a non-thing in the
No,
in the
exactly.
movie
Which is
that-
so I was just like, I don't know what that means. Continue on.
I don't know what it
never
means, but they
matters.
made a Canada joke, so it's funny.
Yeah, and then things like that, which I knew because they explained it to me after, but during the movie, I didn't really click. So I thought the plot was pretty well thrown together.
Yeah, I didn't really have much trouble
No.
following it either.
Not at all.
So let's talk briefly about the acting. Some people were kind of like, Michael Cera.
So Michael Cera is the furthest away from being Michael Cera I've ever seen him in this
He
movie.
was not a total weenie, and I was so happy about it.
Yeah, although at the same time, I definitely still see his sort of typical character in there.
Well, yeah.
But I think
yeah.
the thing is that this was actually a character where Michael Cera being Michael Cera worked out well for the character. Because he plays, he plays a weenie character often, but his mannerisms really fit this character. Because his mannerisms, I find, are the same in other movies. He's just got a little bit more, let's say, ambition in this one.
And he can fight.
Yes,
Yeah.
which is interesting. Even though, it's sort of a silly fight movie, I found the fight scenes were fairly well choreographed.
Very well done.
Michael Cera actually himself did undergo a lot of personal training, so I'd say safely about 2/3 of all the times where he's fighting, that is actually Michael Cera. Only like the really hardcore stuff in the boss battle is not him.
Cool.
Did any characters bug you guys?
No, except for the very end, how they explained how Gideon has control of Ramona. That's the only thing that really bothered me.
It was a
About
little
it,
weird. I think it was, but it was more of a nod because they
Yeah.
couldn't go as in depth to it
Oh,
as
God,
they would
no.
have needed to. So the only thing I think that bothered me was the progression of Knives Chow's relationship with Scott Pilgrim. Additionally, I don't feel there was enough development in Ramona's character, only because sometimes you were like, why is Scott fighting so hard for this chick?
Yeah, she's a
why?
complete douchebag.
She's
What the hell?
She's just terrible the whole time.
She was hotter than Knives.
She was also significantly older
Yeah.
and wore shorter skirts.
Well, see, now there you go.
And
That's,
cooler. She's
I
much
know.
cooler than Knives.
I don't see the question.
That's why Scott fights for his women. Shorter skirts.
That's why I fight for my women.
I think the thing that impressed me. I think the thing that impressed me most, though, was the cinematography of the film. I really enjoyed watching it the second time because I didn't have to care about the plot line and could really focus on watching what was done. Edgar Wright did a really awesome job directing it. I don't remember who the director of cinematography was, but he did a fantastic job. And the editor did an amazing job, too, of basically linking up scenes where Scott will turn around and go from one scene to another, but it's really rather seamless. He walks out a door, ends up in another room, and there's a lot of cuts that are really, really well done. On top of that, I found that there was a lot of little things that get added into scenes, like the little comic book text and a lot of other little nuanced things that get put into the scene, like some of the background music and stuff like that, that had they not put that in, it still would have been a good scene, but because that was in there, it just sort of pushed it to an extra level of being really well thought out and put together from a cinematography standpoint.
That's why I liked this movie so much, was all the little things that just played to people our age who are into like video games and comic books and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as the intro screen came up in 8-bit, I was
Yeah.
done. I was like, I don't care what happens after this. I'm in. And then the scene where he goes to take a pee, and the little pee bar comes up, and the Zelda theme music playing in the background. I was just like, yes, yeah. If you didn't know Zelda and you didn't know that music, you kind of be like, oh, video game something.
Yeah, you could
But it
tell.
means
You
so
could tell
much
it was
more
a
when
video
you're-
game.
Yeah.
Sound for sure. So even if you didn't know what director.
Yeah,
it
it's
was
like,
from.
oh, this sounds like a video game. It's got a keyboard like a video game. I get it now. So, you know.
All right, so
Well, one more thing. The music is a very important part of this
Yes.
thing because he's in the band, and Becky, you're the one that read. How did the music work with how you thought the music would be? From the book
I
to the
think it
film?
was perfect, actually. I mean,
Sweet.
they're a mediocre garage band style. Beck wrote all the music that the Sex Bob-ombs played, and the individual actors themselves can play those instruments. So the Sex Bob-ombs are, I guess, technically
A
in
real
their own way a
band.
real band because they can actually play their
And
instruments.
all of their four-chord glory.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You only need 4 chords.
Yeah.
Ever. It's true.
I really like the music in this movie, and I thought the crappy garage band 4-chord rock really translated from book to film really well. So.
And the video game theme that's so prevalent in the fight scene music was fantastic and was everything I
And the
wanted.
little Bollywood scene was hilarious.
That was
It's
awesome.
true. That
Yes.
was
yeah.
a work of magic.
all right, Scott. So what would you give a rating for in this one?
Out of?
Make up something.
No, that's not a good idea.
All right, out of 10.
Lens flares, 10 lens flares.
9.3.
9.3 lens flares. How about you, Sam?
8.5 lens flares.
8.6 lens flares.
I would give it 9 lens flares.
Seems we're pretty easy to please.
Yeah, I definitely recommend checking this out in theaters because
Worth seeing in theaters.
the
yeah.
cinematography is definitely worth the big screen.
Yeah.
So check it out.
Definitely.
And that's going to wrap up our review of Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. We'll be right back with Tech Insight. Hey everybody, welcome to Tech Insight. Started off with Facebook getting creepy.
So Facebook, this kind of leaked out in a weird backwards announcement. Facebook Places is basically Foursquare. If you're not familiar with Foursquare, it's a location-based service. So if I go to Starbucks, I can whip out my Foursquare and say, log in at Starbucks, and it'll say Scott's at Starbucks to all my friends or whatever, things like that. So you can
Also, it turns into a bit of a game. You can try and
Yeah.
oust the mayor of a place.
So
and
if
stuff
you
like
log in
that.
the most times, and then there's achievements like on Xbox or video games, you like most stops in one night. Or
And it
whatever.
obviously syncs with your Facebook and Twitter and stuff
Yeah.
so that people know where you
So
are.
pretty cool. Facebook has decided to basically copy every feature that Foursquare has and implement Facebook Places. Now this has been rumored for a while, but it showed up in the iPhone app in version 3.2, which released, I guess, today or yesterday. I just downloaded it today. So not active yet. But some things to know about when it does go active, and you can change these in privacy settings now. By default, Facebook Places is enabled.
Kind of like Google Buzz.
Yeah, but you do have to log in to somewhere for this to be violating your privacy. However, by default, as Sam pointed out to me just before, friends can also log you into a place.
Okay.
So if I'm out with you and we're at a pub,
Yeah.
then you can log both of us in.
Okay.
Because you're my friend on Facebook, right? So beware of that, as people can be logging you in without you actually giving them permission to if they're your friends. So you can change that, obviously. By default, your location is only available to friends only, which is good. But if I'm not your friend and we're both logged in at Starbucks, he can see that I'm there.
Which, it's kind of weird because you can see people that you don't know, but at the same time, they're also standing in that room with you.
Yeah, and at the same time, it's not like you can then see their profile.
No, you just know that they're there.
Oh, Bob's here. Great. If
always
I
wanted
went
to
up
meet
and
Bob.
said, "Hey, what's your name?" Oh, you're Bob, and it's the same kind of information.
Yeah.
So if that bothers you, you can change it. If not, something to look out for. Also in 3.2 for the iPhone, you can do photo video uploads in the background,
Nice.
only if you're on iOS 4, of course.
Well,
with
yeah,
multitasking.
obviously. Yes.
Um,
I'm a little surprised that they'd roll out places to the application without it working yet.
Yes.
I mean, they must have had it ready and something
Because
must have gone wrong.
what happens is when you go into places, at least I've heard from different parts of the States, a few people in the UK, and of course Canada, we don't have it either.
Yeah.
Basically goes in and says, places will be available in your region soon. And you're kind of like, okay, well, does anyone have it? They might. I mean, I'm not really sure. I mean, it could have been enabled for California 5 minutes ago or something. But really, Facebook, if you're going to roll something like this out, the internet's a really global kind of thing these days.
Yeah.
And GPS works everywhere, so
I can't see it being hard for
No.
the infrastructure.
I don't. Well, Foursquare managed, and they're a much smaller company.
Yes.
So we'll see there. Other business news, Intel, the giant company that makes almost every processor in the desktop or laptop these days, bought McAfee antivirus today for $7.7 billion.
That's a lot of money.
That's, I can't remember exactly, but it's something like $20 premium per share. That's a good buyout if you're a McAfee stockholder. For you earned a bunch of money today. Basically, the market was kind of saying, "Wow, that's overpriced." All McAfee does is antivirus and security things,
Yeah.
right? So it's kind of out there as to what Intel wanted to do with it. There's some talk of them building in more security / malware detection, antivirus detection onto their own dies
Okay.
at a hardware lower level, which could be interesting. It could make things a lot more secure.
Yeah, I mean, especially for the end user that maybe is a little bit daunted by a lot of antivirus
Yeah.
software and a lot of that stuff can slow down your system if you're not using it right and stuff like that. So if it's even if it's built at the lower level, then maybe it's going to protect you, but really not hinder as much stuff.
Yeah, so it really, if that is the case and it's implemented well,
I think it's really depend on what they're going to do with it.
yeah, it depends. And I also heard on the news this afternoon that they wanted to use this to break into the mobile space, and I didn't know where they were going with that. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot of viruses out
No,
there for.
they're almost exclusively Android. Well, not surprising, it's the only open environment.
Yes.
But
And no one owns Palm
in,
Breeze.
in fact, Kaspersky is making. They're another antivirus company is making an antivirus security suite for Android.
Oh man.
That if that goes big, Android's going to be ruined. No one will buy one because average people will be like, "Oh, it's like a computer. I don't want that." It's just it's kind of sad. But it'd be interesting to see what Intel does with them. Intel's not a stupid company; they don't buy people out very often.
No, they don't tend to. So
And
I'm
this is
curious to see where it's going to
their
go.
biggest corporate buyout ever. So clearly they had something in mind to put out almost $8 billion, which is way overpriced. And a lot of people said if you wanted a security company, you could have bought a smaller one for a lot less. So we'll see. Maybe they have plans. Next up, a little local news. Well, local-ish. And if you're not local, please stay and listen because you're going to think it's hilarious. Wi-Fi is hurting your children. But it's not. So basically, in Toronto area, there's the Simcoe County School Board. It covers Barrie, Collingwood, Orillia. It's outside Toronto. Small counties. Basically, they rolled out Wi-Fi in their schools. What big surprise! I can't believe it took them this long. But they have a lot of elementary schools and stuff like that. So, Wi-Fi rollout. That's great. It costs some money, but worth it. The teachers are happy.
It's definitely good to see Wi-Fi ending up in the schools. As
Yeah.
it's a good piece of technology. I won't be surprised to see more and more even elementary school kids
No.
start showing up to school with netbooks and things like that.
Yeah, and there are tools in the classroom that, like smart boards and things like that.
Yeah.
Way easier for teachers if they don't have to rewire
Plug
it to
everything
move
in,
it
yeah.
and things like that. So that's really good. But basically, a small group of parents started noticing, apparently, that their kids were getting sick. And they decided that their kids were getting sick because they were exposed to Wi-Fi all day.
Seems like a pretty logical reason there.
So they claimed memory loss, they claimed rashes, they claimed hyperactivity, insomnia.
I don't know what a Wi-Fi rash is, but I kind of want one just because.
I don't. I think if there was a Wi-Fi rash, of all people, I would have it.
Maybe
by
I'll have to
now.
go up and rub my arm really hard on my router.
So their parents group got together and was kind of like, you got to get the Wi-Fi out. And the school board responded with, Health Canada says Wi-Fi is perfectly safe. There's nothing to say the Wi-Fi isn't. There's maybe 2%, not even, there's like a tiny, tiny fraction of all their students, like under 50. I can't remember the exact number, but a small, small proportion were having these parents complaining about it. So they were like, no, we're leaving the Wi-Fi in. It was
And it was
expensive.
probably one of those PTA things too, where
Yeah.
like one parent's like, "I think it's the Wi-Fi," and then four there's like, "Yes," and that's why
Yeah.
our kids are sick,
Okay.
and then
And
bandwagon.
they didn't have a single doctor on board with them, obviously.
Yeah.
So the school board came out and said, no, we're leaving it in. And then, in fact, the top doctor in Ontario came out. He works for the government. He works for Health Ontario or whatever. He came out and said, yeah, Wi-Fi is safe. We've done pretty extensive testing. It's rolled out across the world in schools.
If you're in San Francisco, it's covering your entire city.
Yeah, there are entire cities blanketed in Wi-Fi, at which point you breathe, you wake up, and you've already had 8 hours of Wi-Fi exposure. Yes, children are more sensitive to radiation. That's been proven because they have softer skulls and things like that. But if it was a problem like that, to make these like really noticeable symptoms, I think we'd probably know about it. People have Wi-Fi at home. There's Wi-Fi leaking out every other building. McDonald's has
It must
Wi-Fi.
have just had like it must be that uranium was dripping down
I don't
on
know.
top of
I
their
don't know
Wi-Fi
what it
router,
was.
and it was just extrapolating itself.
Yeah, it was just uranium-empowered Wi-Fi or something. So I just thought I'd bring that up. I thought that was a
There's
little
a good chance
ridiculous.
that students are going to grow up to be superheroes
Props
or
for them if
super
they-
villains. Maybe they'll fight out against Wi-Fi crimes worldwide.
because there's a lot of those.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's an epidemic, really.
It'll be a boring job.
So if parents stay reassured, Wi-Fi doesn't hurt your children. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit more about the BlackBerry Torch. Unfortunately, it's kind of dropped the ball.
Which is largely because RIM designed a phone for 2 years ago,
Yeah, or 3 maybe.
somewhere in that range.
So we've been out for a week and a half.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah, that was announced 2.5 weeks ago, something like that. It's half price now.
Which is what?
Not
phone?
$99
Okay.
now. Not a good sign for a phone that wants to be competing with the Android phones, which are $150, $200. The iPhone, which is $200, $300.
I give it like another month before it becomes a Palm Pre and it's free.
and it's free.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I would. You know what? If it was free,
No.
I wouldn't get one.
Nah.
But if I was a BlackBerry person,
Yeah.
I would consider upgrading.
I think if I was a BlackBerry person right now, I probably would have even paid full price for it because I think it is the best BlackBerry they've made.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But that doesn't say a lot because
But you know
Blackberries
what?
aren't awesome.
No, it's not.
No?
I'd buy a 9700.
How come?
I don't want a touchscreen BlackBerry. If I
Alright.
want a touchscreen phone, I'd buy Android, or I'd buy an iPhone, which
Yeah.
I have.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I looked at Blackberries, and the BlackBerry 9700 is a great phone if you want to do email and text and stuff like that, and you
If
don't
you want to run a business.
and you don't really want to browse the web. Although now apparently the new browser is fine,
Yes.
and
that
you
is-
can get OS 6 on the 9700 and one of the little ones.
Probably the Pearl Flip or something.
Yeah, only 2 of the Blackberries exist and get it. But if you have that BlackBerry, it's a good BlackBerry. Keep that one. Don't buy this. So they're not doing well. If it goes down to 0, we'll let you know because that's just ridiculous.
And if it does go down to 0 and you're a BlackBerry user, you should probably jump
Probably
on
pick it up, yeah. If you're not, don't. Take your $200.
And if
go
you're
buy
looking
one.
for a new phone altogether, yeah, choose something else because
Yeah.
there's much better phones on the market.
Yeah.
Such as this one right here.
So that's been out in Canada for about a month?
no.
A little less, 3 weeks.
2 weeks actually, because we got it like the 1st of August, so just over 2 weeks.
Was it the first? Wasn't the 20-something?
Right.
Anyway.
It was the week we got it on the Friday. That was the weekend of the 1st. It was either like the 29th
Yes, the
or it was
27th or something like that.
Yeah. So it hasn't been out for very long. As Canadians, you have a very hard time to get one of these.
Yes.
A lot of people.
Unless you're a Virgin Mobile
Yes,
subscriber.
if you're a Virgin Mobile subscriber, they are falling from the skies for you.
Just go anywhere and you can find one.
Just actually don't go to Virgin booths.
No.
Because the Virgin booths are sold out, but things like all that wireless wave and the telephone booths and stuff, they all have them. For Virgin.
Yeah.
Now, if you're an iPhone or Rogers customer, you're in a bit of a tougher spot, especially if you're a Rogers customer. Customer service reps have been known to tell customers on the phone that basically they should wait until September or they should move to a new company.
Yeah, because...
That's pretty harsh when
well,
Rogers customer reps
but-
are saying go to a new company.
I think it's because... Well, they should be fired.
Well, yes.
To be honest. But I think it's because the most iPhone users are on Rogers.
Yes, I would say so.
And almost everyone who has an iPhone on Rogers, unless you buy yours like really recently, gets an upgrade at upgrade price.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty lenient for Rogers standards. So I think you're seeing a lot of, like, I'm a Rogers customer, and I'm going to upgrade, but I can wait.
I managed to get a little bit luckier as I'm a Fido customer, and although they are probably the second most popular brand to try and have
They've
to
had
pick
it
one
for a
up
while,
for, they have a little bit less demand than Rogers does. So I managed to be able to pick mine up this week. Talk briefly about it. It's a fantastic phone. Now, I skipped the 3GS. I'm coming from a 3G. Everything is better than a 3G, might I add. Any phone that you buy right now that's a smartphone is better than a 3G.
It's sad because an iPhone 2G is actually about the same performance as an iPhone 3G.
But let's talk quickly just about the physical appearance of this. How do you feel about the design of it?
Now that I've actually played with it a bit, yours and I played with it, I went and played with it at the store. It feels a lot nicer. I don't mind that it's slightly thicker, right?
No, I think it's actually thinner, but just by a bit because it doesn't curve.
I can't remember.
So
yeah.
this is thicker than the edges. Like this part's thicker than the edges on the 3G
But
and
not in the
3GS,
middle.
but all the way through it's actually
Yeah.
thinner.
No, I really like the design. It feels smaller than it is, which is nice.
Yeah.
Because if when you're holding it with the screen off, it does look a lot small, but then when you start using it, you don't notice.
I mean, what I really like is just it feels a lot more better built than the other ones did. You get
There's no plastic.
It's got more weight to it. It's got a nicer fit and finish to it. I mean, when we got the leaked photos, I had my fingers crossed that it was going to be this because I think this is probably one of the nicest looking phones aesthetically out there because it's got a sense that it's worth the money you're spending on it, but it's also simplistic, which is kind of nice. So to talk briefly about the performance, this thing is screamingly fast. It loads stuff really quickly. In case in point, my boss has one, and he got it on Virgin. Didn't really know much about iPhones. It was his first iPhone, so didn't know that it did multitasking. He'd been using it for a couple days, not knowing that things were multitasking in the background. And so I went and asked him, how do you find multitasking? He went, multitasking? And I said, yeah, you double click on the home menu, brings up the multitasking. And I noticed he had about 15 applications running. And I looked at him, I'm like, how's your phone running? He's like, no different.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it, so it goes to show that you can really, the backgrounding that this phone's designed to work with is really a smart system because you can have all your applications running in the background really without seeing much lag. Both Scott and I are playing some games on it today, and the gyroscope in it really does make a big difference, especially
It's a
for
lot better, yeah.
racing games and stuff. You're not moving the phone like this
Yeah,
anymore to
because
drive.
when you play Need for Speed Shift on the iPhone 3G, you kind of do this all the time.
Whereas I found that playing the games, you were
it was
really
a lot more subtle.
doing this, which made gaming a lot fun,
Yes.
because you weren't...
It also didn't take 150 years to get into the game.
Yes.
Which really deters. Sometimes I just turn the phone off when I try to get into a game. Quickly, I just want to wrap up. The signaling. We're not having the problems you have in the States.
Yep. I can hold my fingers specifically over this bar, and I will never go... I have not yet gone below 2 bars on this phone. Which is still perfectly fine for me to make a phone call, by the way.
He, in fact, called me this morning twice.
Look, see, I'm at 2 bars, and I'm holding it right there. I'm also in the basement of a house right now. So,
It didn't even go up when he took your fingers up. He called me twice, no dropped calls.
Yep. I think
I
it's
don't-
really a case of, this antenna definitely does reduce reception.
Yes.
Because if you've got 4 bars and you hold your hands there, you'll drop a bar or two. But the thing is that in the States, because AT&T's service was so subpar to begin with, it was like... It was struggling to get that service in the first place, and then you made it harder for it to get that
Yeah.
service, and it was freaking out. Whereas here in Canada, although we're more spaced out, the areas that do have cell service
better
are
service.
much stronger. So anywhere in this city, I've got 5 bars right now in the basement of a house, and so I'm never struggling to get a signal. And because of that, although I am reducing my reception, there's just more to pull from. So I've never really gone below.
Although I would like to say, still, what the hell are you doing, Apple? Why would you make something that is below par for the market?
And on top of that, I know a couple people in Toronto that have found that they will drop some calls and they will lose reception. Obviously, Toronto's more of a taxed area for cell phones,
Big time,
so
yeah.
it's kind of depends on where you're going to be. But I don't think it's as big of an issue here in Canada as it is in the States.
Which is, if you're Canadian, kind of get that off your mind if you do want to enjoy the phone.
Yeah.
Because it is a spectacular device.
And the Retina display is everything they make it out to be.
it's gorgeous,
It's
yeah.
incredible when you watch videos on it. And on top of that, the camera is actually really good. Being a photographer and using point and shoots every day, I was taking some photos today of my cats that honestly looked like I could have been taking them with a $300 point and shoot.
That's honestly why I'm most excited to get the 4, is because most of the time I try to use this camera, and now that iOS 4 is on here, you can't.
Yeah.
It takes too long.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
All right, well, that wraps up Tech Insight this week. We'll be right back with From Behind the Lens and a little bit more of us.
All right, welcome back, folks. It's time for Behind the Lens. We've got a bunch of really quick announcements for you. Nikon, Canon, and Fuji.
Yeah, it's been a busy week. A lot of people have come out with some new stuff. Everyone's been anticipating some new Nikon cameras.
For a while.
But there's been a couple that we weren't really expecting that happened to slip through as well. So the first one is the S1100 PJ. We've talked in great length about the S1000 PJ, which was Nikon's projector camera, which largely didn't do all that well.
I wasn't terribly surprised.
No, there was people that wanted it, and when they first made it, sold out, but they didn't make a lot at the beginning. And then when they made a bunch of extra ones, everyone's like, stop caring.
Yeah.
So they've updated the S1000 PJ. The big thing they've done is they've given it a facelift, so we've got a picture of it here. It's a little bit more in line with their other cameras as far as how it looks. It's
little more stylish.
A little less blocky, a little bit more stylish. Pretty much the same as what was going on with the S1100 PJ, except for a couple of things. The first thing is the projector is brighter. 40% brighter is what they're saying. So it should be able to not only light up the same area better, but also maybe get a little bit more distance, because it was capped at about 40 inches before, which is still pretty big. But now we should be able to get maybe a little bit bigger, or that 40 inches a little bit brighter.
Brighter projectors is never a bad thing, right?
Absolutely. They've also upped the resolution on the back screen. They've doubled it from 230,000 dots to 460,000 dots, so
Nice.
a little bit clearer screen on the back, which is nice. And the big thing they've done is that they've allowed the ability for the camera to connect to the computer and project the computer.
Yeah, so it's actually a portable projector
Yes,
and a camera.
it is a portable projector and a camera, which is really cool because I spent a lot of time seeing if I could encode my videos
to watch on
in the file that came off of the Nikon, so that I could just throw
and we did talk about that. We're like, can we do it? Can we do it? And he did try it.
I spent a
decent
bunch of
amount.
time, and it really couldn't be done. It just would not take anything that wasn't directly from the camera. So it's kind of cool now because that's more or less the workaround is just plug the camera in now, which is really neat.
Do we know price point?
There was a listed price. I don't have it on me right now.
Similar to the
I think
the
it's
1000?
around. Yeah, the 1000 is going for about $249 right now. It dropped a lot from where it was because it didn't sell all that well. I would expect it to be somewhere in the range of $299 to $400, somewhere in the range of $300 to $400, which is reasonable, especially now that it's connecting to a computer.
I'd totally buy one of those and just attach it permanently to the notebook of mine.
Yeah, you just strap it to the front of the laptop. That'd be pretty fun.
There you go.
So the other really big thing that Nikon did is they updated their D3000 to the D3100. We got a picture of it here. Just going to show you this really briefly because it
similar.
looks exactly like the D3000. They did a lot of really, really smart things. I've been complaining about Nikon and their lack of really proper video whatsoever.
Especially with the leaps and bounds Canon has been making.
Yeah, Canon's been doing great in the video field. Nikon's been 720p the entire time. Well, not anymore. This one is now 1080 24p. Now, keep in mind that the D3100 is the entry-level SLR. So they're giving you 1080p in a camera that's going to be retailing for about $699 US. So pretty
So
good price point. It's
do you
coming in cheaper than Canon's with video right now.
Do you think there's going to be a higher up camera that gets an upgrade with some?
Yeah, there's been some pretty strong rumors that the D90 is going to get replaced, maybe with something like a D95, and the D700 is probably also going to get replaced. We'll probably hear about those a little bit closer into September, closer to Photokina. I've got my fingers crossed that the D95 is going to have a little bit more features to it. Now, what they did do with the D3100 that's really nice is that they have now switched to a CMOS sensor in their entry-level camera, because it was the D3000 was the only camera in their lineup that was CCD anymore. So now they've moved to CMOS, which is better in low light.
Yeah, CCD seemed to be abandoned a little while ago.
Well, they're cheaper to
more or
make,
less.
but the CMOS is getting cheaper and cheaper because more people are adopting it. So they bumped it up to 14 megapixels. Don't know if that was a good choice because it is their entry-level chip.
But they might have been the cheapest CMOS sensor or something like that. You never know.
So when you are shooting video with this guy, it's 1080 24p at full resolution. You don't have any frame rate control unless you drop down to 720. If you drop down to 720, then you can choose between 720 24 and 720 30. No,
So you don't get the
60
30
option.
frame. You don't get the 30 or 60 option at 1080p.
No. So it's a little bit of a downside, but again, keep in mind, this is their entry-level model, so I wouldn't be surprised that they're holding that out for the D90 replacement. Now, here's the really, really big thing about this. DSLRs suck at autofocusing in live view. Specifically, if you have to refocus any of the Canons, you have to push the button to refocus, and it jumps and jots, and it's just unusable in video. This is the first camera to have a constant autofocus. So this one is going to work like a video camera, and as you're panning and moving, it's going to be constantly refocusing with you. Now, a lot of people assumed they were going to use a different type of laser system or a different sort of mirror system, essentially, but Nikon's actually just made their contrast detect autofocus even better. So I'm curious to see how well it's going to do.
Yeah, definitely implementation will be key.
Because, you know, if it's really noisy autofocus, you're going to hear that in your video too, and that's not going to help you.
And that was a problem with some of the early Canon cameras too, as I know I had some friends shooting some stuff, and it's just like, oh great, I hear the autofocus the whole time.
So as soon as we get the D3100, we'll bring it in and we'll talk about it. We'll get a hands-on here on the show. Nikon also decided to announce a couple lenses, 4 to be exact. They came out with an 85mm f1.4, so they were updating that prime lens to put the autofocus motor in it, so you could use it with the D3100 and the D5000. It's f1.4, so that's nice. It's also a full-frame lens, so you can use it on their full-frame cameras. They came out with a 28-300, which is basically the full-frame version of the 18-200. So right now, the 18-200 is probably one of their best-selling lenses because it's an all-purpose lens.
Yeah.
But if you decide to buy a D700 and put that lens on it, you can't use it at the full 12 megapixels. So the 28-300 is designed to be full-frame. You throw it in your D700, you're going to get the same range of that 18-200, but yet your full resolution. So has VR as well, obviously, so nice to see that. They've also brought out a 55-300, which is a step up for their 55-200, which was their entry-level telephoto lens to use with the D3000 and the D5000. So that guy's been upgraded to give you a little bit more range. Otherwise, it's pretty much the same lens.
Not bad.
And they have brought out a 24-120 f4 lens, which is the common kit lens for the D700 is a 24-120, but it's a ranged aperture, so it's a 3.5 to 5.6, not quite as bright. So what they did was they upgraded it to constant f4, which a lot of people were hoping for because that also does improve the optics a little bit. So a bit of a bump for that lens quality as well. So a couple of good lenses. I think they made lens choices in the right direction for sure.
Sounds like they made their kind of lower level entry stuff a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that's what they're aiming for with this release for sure. So Canon also announced some stuff this week. Pretty much just replacements for cameras they already have with not a whole lot changes to them. The popular one's going to be the S95. We've talked about the S90 on the show, and we all really liked that camera. It was a very good camera. It didn't have HD. Now it does. So it records at 720p.
The one thing we complained about, yeah.
Yeah, it records at 720p, and that's really about all they added to it. There was a couple other things, but nothing too important. It still has the same 10 megapixel chip, which is nice. They didn't bump up the megapixels. They did, I think they increased the screen size from 2.8 inches to 3 inches.
So
slightly.
small updates across the board.
Yeah, really, if you were thinking about an S90, wait, buy an S95 because now you can shoot HD video.
Yeah.
They also updated the SD4500, which is an update to the SD4000. This guy is touting to be the smallest high zoom point and shoot. So this guy's 10 times optical zoom in what is arguably the thinnest. So that's knocking Fuji out of the running with its
Yes,
F80.
because they seem to go back and forth on that all the time.
They do, yeah. They've also added the backlit CMOS sensor and added HD video to it, so they're
Not
adding
bad.
HD to
Yep.
everything. And they also updated the SX120 to the new SX130. Again, added HD video. They bumped it from 10 to 12 times optical zoom, from 10 to 12 megapixels, and they added a wide-angle 28mm lens. So a little better range to the lens and high-definition video.
So basically, we're saying, here's Canon last year. Let's add HD and some small minor features, and now you've got Canon this year.
Exactly.
Not bad.
But not to be left out, Fuji also came out with the new W3. We've talked about the W2 before, which was the first camera to shoot 3D
yeah.
photos using 2 lenses and 2 sensors.
With glassesless screen on the back.
Yes, it has. You don't have to use glasses to look at the to pictures. So what they did was they brought out the W2 and changed it to 3, and that 3 equals video. So this is the first camera to shoot 3D video, the first point and shoot camera to shoot.
This is the cheapest camera to shoot 3D video.
Yes, it's the cheapest camera to shoot 3D video currently available on the market. And again, that video still does not require glasses to watch. So
On the back of the camera.
on the back of the camera. Now you can also get their picture frames, which I think have been updated to take the video. So if you've got one of those picture frames, you can watch that video with the picture frames as well.
And of course, 3D TVs, I assume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they went from 2.8 inches on the back screen to 3.5 inches on the back screen.
Which might make 3D
So,
being a little more
yeah, a little
enjoyable
bit bigger
video.
screen. So I'm not sure what the price point is for that one, but there's a lot of video bumps this week.
Yes.
So if you were thinking about a new camera, you got a bunch more options to choose from now, so pick wisely. That about wraps up this week in Behind the Lens.
Next up, we're telling you why Facebook and job interviews don't get along. All right, folks, it's time for the lull of the week. This week, we are telling you why Facebook, your profile, probably shouldn't be public to begin with.
No.
But if it is, what a job interview might be like.
So this is the constant argument that people who are on Facebook tell you. It's like, hey, so what if you're looking for a job? You know, you don't want your employer seeing that. Well,
You always shove it off. Oh,
Yeah,
don't worry,
oh,
they
whatever.
won't look. Well, if they did, it might go a little something like this.
I hope it's alright if I bring up your Facebook profile here.
Yeah.
I guess my first question is about your profile picture.
The one of me and my mother? God, I love her. I have that picture framed on my mantle.
It's you naked doing a keg stand holding, like just brandishing what appears to be a live snake.
Yeah, no, my mom is in that picture. She's holding up my legs. It's my cousin's christening.
Oh, I'll tell you what, there she is. Cousin's christening?
Yeah, little Anthony.
Okay, well, maybe you could shed some light onto this album, a full photo album in which you are draped in nothing but the Italian flag, snorting cocaine with your friends, watching Life is Beautiful on a television set, and you're fully erect, I might add.
It's taken completely out of context. It was for a photo essay for the school zine, so that's all that was.
so Scott, has it ever happened to you in a job interview?
Not that I've had very many job interviews, but no, it hasn't, and my profile is not public in any way.
That's good. So you should learn from this guy, everyone whose profiles aren't public or are very, very...
You know, those profile pictures that you might not have set to private of you getting really wasted that time, where you were at a toga party. Yeah, that might not go over extremely well at your next job interview.
No.
If you're interviewing to be a drunk,
Maybe. Yeah.
could go just fine.
No.
Probably not. So that wraps up this week, Almost Friday Show. If you want to contact us, you can email us at contact@almostfridayshow.com.
And if you want to contact us on Twitter, we're at almost_Friday. You can tweet us about anything, you know, compromising job interviews, funny Facebook profiles.
Compromising
anything.
job interviews your friends were in. Yeah, good. You can also find when new episodes get released on Twitter. It's always posted
Yep.
there very, very shortly afterwards. Of course, if you want to check out all the show notes, we have outlines of everything we talked about and things like that. You can go to almostfridayshow.com, which has our blog, old episodes, things like that. Very
Everything.
exciting. Bios that you should check out.
Hilariously written bios. We don't pimp our bios enough.
We don't. We should. They're very
really
funny.
need
Our
to.
very own Quinn Brown came up with some very funny bios. Check them out. So that wraps up this week.
Yep. Have anything witty to say?
I really don't.
No? Let's end it on that then.